Mike Price's love of food and cooking began on the Maryland farm where he grew up. While his family tended cows, pigs, and chickens, they also grew their own food. But it was on the nearby shores of the Chesapeake Bay that his love of seafood took root. It's there that he also learned to fish for soft-shell crabs, rockfish, oysters, and clams. His first cooking experiment was making rice. Plain boiled rice when he was just 5 years old. But then he slowly started adding sauteed onions and garlic. By age 13, he was working in a professional kitchen at a local Holiday Inn.
I'm still working on making rice. He's come a long way from that Holiday Inn. He's now chef and co-owner of two popular restaurants here in New York, Market Table, which opened in 2007, and the Clam, which just opened last year. Chef Mike Price, welcome to the dish.
Thanks for having me.
Our first clam breakfast on the dish.
No omelets.
What did you bring for us?
We have a beautiful ginger cranberry cocktail made with vodka. Could substitute tequila for that. Really delicious. We've got our house-made clam dip served with potato chips and seasonal vegetable crudité. A lovely fall salad that's got a pecorino cheese, roasted delicata squash, a little bit of shaved apple, toasted pumpkin seeds. Of course, we have to do a clam dish, so we got spaghetti and clams there served with the salad on top. And we have a roasted cauliflower side served with sherry gastrique and toasted pine nuts on top.
And I'm looking at these, which are homemade?
Homemade potato chips, of course.
That sherry gastrique is just delicious.
It's like a French sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah, it's really nice. I feel like most people ignore clams. Is that just my imagination? I mean, it seems like everyone else wants to do a restaurant with the higher end seafood.
Yeah, I mean, oysters and lobster and shrimp and crab get a lot of attention, and that's kind of what's part of our motivation behind opening a clam restaurant. It's never really got its time and its day, and as far as a restaurant goes, so we kind of went for that single ingredient restaurant with the real focus on clams, and it's been really successful so far.
And you're putting it on the marquee now. We mentioned the fact that you were making rice at age 5. This love of cooking was just always there?
Yeah, I mean, my grandmother was a dietitian. My grandfather was a butcher. On the other side of my family, my grandmother owned large farms, so we always had corn and tobacco and soybeans, and just grew lots of stuff at home. So it's been in my blood for a long time.
Your mom tried to make a frozen dinner once. I get.
Once. I think that was about the extent of it, because they wanted to go out to dinner and they put one of those Stouffer's Salisbury steaks in front of us, and I think it was upheaval at the house for sure. Yeah.
Just one time, let the woman have that.
Yeah, but
No, I mean, it obviously influenced you, but do you look at your career and think there was one pivotal moment or there was one turning point for you that you thought, I want to do this full time?
When I went to work at the Holiday Inn, I worked under a chef named Chef Ben, who had gone to culinary school in France at Cordon Bleu, which, in the small town that I grew up was just fortuitous to kind of be able to work underneath of him. And he was the one who kind of pointed me in the direction that I needed to go to cooking school to take this to the next level. So I went to the CIA upstate, the Culinary Institute of America.
Because you started as a dishwasher, right? Was that the deal?
As most chefs do, you have to work your way up to the kitchen. So, dishwashing was the first step in that cook. And then, you start to prep, and then you start to make salads, and eventually you work your way up.
A lot of people have said you're sort of in this niche between fast casual and high-end dining. Do you feel like that's where the industry is headed? Are more and more chefs sort of starting to come to this place?
I feel like it. I'm excited about that spot in the industry. It fits us well as a company. It's something where you're not pretentious. Anybody feels like they can walk in. People make reservations, but you're also a very neighborhood restaurant. When it's raining and snowing outside, that's who's coming to your restaurant. So you need to nurture the neighborhood and make it accessible.
Right. I mean, it's about the hospitality part of it, right?
I always say this: when you can look at people two ways when they walk in the door, like they're lucky to be there, or like you're lucky to have them. So as long as you always look at them like you're lucky to have them, it really makes a difference. It translates into service, translates into the food, the atmosphere in the restaurant. It makes a huge difference.
I really want to slurp this up. It's taking all my energy to not try that. But I want to hand over this dish, and as we hand it to you and get your signature on it, we want to ask you if you could have this meal with any person, past or present. Who would that person be?
I don't know. For cooking personalities, I'd have to go with Jacques Pepin. I grew up watching him on PBS as a very young child. Always loved his style of cooking, the way that he interacted with Julia Child in those cooking shows. Yes. I would love to sit down with him and just...
He's coming on the show in a few weeks, so we will get your pick.
Nice.
Chef Mike Price, thank you so much. And for more on Mike Price and the dish, please head to our website at cbsthismorning.com.